Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today we'll be talking about winter continuing this week here with a couple more snow chances and also very cold temperatures for Wednesday morning. We get a break later in the week, but another harsh winter pattern looks to return for next week. And we're going to get started with the watch warning and advisory display across the country, and it's pretty quiet for today. Got some winter weather alerts across parts of the north. Looks like we got some freeze warnings across parts of Arizona and into Central Valley of California. We still got some fire weather issues around LA, and unfortunately, conditions do continue to favor wildfires down there over the next several days. This is the satellite view over Kentucky, and look at all that snow on the ground. The entire state has snow on the ground today. Some of this will melt today, and even for the ice accumulation. And look at all that snow down across Tennessee. Even Tennessee's got all kinds of snow on the ground as well. So really just about anywhere you go in the state of Kentucky, or if you're going up in Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Tennessee, you're going to find snow just about everywhere out there. And here's the current temperatures here, and we're warming up. We are in the low to mid 30s across central and eastern Kentucky, with that one low 40 reading in Johnson County, 41. That's going to feel pretty nice compared to where we've been over the last several days. Western Kentucky is getting into the low 40s as well, so this is really going to help thaw out all the ice and snow that we have on the ground here, but this is going to be a one-day thing for now. 40s do look to return later in the week, and we'll talk about that here in a few moments, but we got to go through a couple more days of winter weather before we get there. So let's check out the latest run of the European model. This is the 0Z run, and you can see here for high temperatures for today, talking about generally mostly in the 30s here, and it seems like it's running a little bit too cool on the temperatures here. We've already got some 40 readings past noon out there, so as we kind of look throughout the European model run, it might be too cold, just to warn you guys when I showed this model run here. But everybody should be in the 30s to even some 40s out there as well. The best chance for 40s would be across the south and west. And then here comes the next Arctic frontier that comes through here tomorrow. And you can see here for high temperatures, most of us would be in the 20s, though across southeastern Kentucky, where the cold front hasn't come through yet, you guys will probably be in the 30s once again. Now, high temperatures across most of Kentucky will probably be early in the morning. So if you see the high temperature forecast for Monday, that's probably going to be for the morning, because the temperatures are going to get colder as the day goes on. And there can also be some snow flurries and some snow showers along the cold front. And to look at that, we'll check out the high-res NAM. You can see our stronger storm system up towards the north, 1,004 millibar low moving across upper Michigan, bringing widespread snow up across the north. And here comes our cold front coming through here, and you can see along that cold front could be some snow flurries and even some snow showers. Could be enough to put a trace of snow on the ground. It's not really going to amount to much. And you can see here for the snow accumulation, could be a fraction of an inch, a tenth of an inch to maybe as most as 2/10. So it's going to be hardly anything out there for Monday. And if we go back to the European model, this is the morning lows for Tuesday, and you can see how that Arctic air really settles in. And we're still going to have a fresh snowpack on the ground. We're still going to have snow on the ground around this time here. So if we can get clearing of the skies, we could be near zero for temperatures. But across southern Kentucky, we'll probably be in the teens. Across northern Kentucky, would be in the single digits. And highs for Tuesday, you can see across the south here may get around freezing once again, but across northern Kentucky, it could be stuck in the 20s or even in the teens throughout most of the day. And that's also with our next system, which comes through Tuesday. And it's a quick clipper system on a northwest flow. You can see here for Tuesday morning, you can see that period of snow moving across the Illinois, and you can see how it becomes a little more widespread as it gets into Kentucky here. And the high-risk name likes the idea of the better snow chances to be eastern Kentucky. And this wave here can actually put a little bit more snow on the ground, and it may have an opportunity to be a winter weather advisory event. And you can see here, once again, not much, but definitely more snow compared to tomorrow. Could be anywhere from a trace to maybe close to an inch of snow out there. And the higher standard tends to do a better job on these sneaky setups here when it comes to these clipper systems here. So look out to watch. But I think there's a chance some areas may get close to an inch of snow for Tuesday. And if we go back to temperatures, if we do see clearing in the skies for Wednesday morning, like the European model says, it's going to be very cold, brutally cold. Areas generally along the north of 64 would be below zero for temperatures. And those below zero temperature readings could be as far south as Richmond through maybe close to Danville and through E-Town out there. So, yeah, it's going to be very cold. And it's even got temperatures going as far as 10 below zero, so negative 10 degrees. It wouldn't surprise me if we get there. We'll still have snow on the ground, of course, around that time, so don't be surprised if temperatures do get close to negative 10 for Wednesday morning. And those high temperatures will probably be stuck in the teens for some areas, and then across southern Kentucky would be in the 20s. And Thursday morning is not going to be as cold, but we're still talking about lows potentially near zero across northeastern Kentucky, and then parts of western Kentucky could get in the 20s for lows for Thursday morning. And this is when our moderation period starts to move into Kentucky. You can see here for Thursday afternoon, could be near 40 degrees across the south and west. Northern Kentucky could still be below freezing for Thursday. And check out the low temperatures for Friday morning. It doesn't get that cold. Generally in the 20s, maybe even some 30s out there. And then here's Friday, and Friday looking to be a pretty good day. Highs in the low to mid 40s out there. Could be some areas stuck in the upper 30s across northern Kentucky, but most areas will probably be in the low to mid 40s. If we can get all the snow to melt, we could even hit the low 50s for your Friday. So Friday is going to be a really nice day out there compared to where we've been through. But you can see how short-lived this is. This is Friday night, and you can see our cold front approaching from the northwest. Now, your high temperature is really going to determine the arrival of the cold front for Saturday. So if the cold front doesn't come through yet Saturday afternoon, your highs will be in the 40s. If it's come through already, it would be in the 30s. We'll also have a rain chance for your Saturday as well. So likely to be some more cloud cover, and you can see winter comes right back in for Saturday night and into Sunday. So, and let's check out the Canadian model here for the storm systems for this next pattern change here. So you can see here for your Saturday here, we're probably going to see some rain for your Saturday here, but snow may not be too far away out there. And you can see as soon as that storm system passes through, this very cold air settles in here. We're talking about well below normal temperature, especially off to our north and west out there. And as we go towards the end of run here, now there's going to be some time for changes here. Models, if you watch the GFS and Euro and even the Canadian model for early next week, expect to see wild swings. And this is the time period where these models here tend to be not reliable because they tend to show their bias. The GFS usually has a progression bias, and the Euro has a bias where it holds too much energy to the southwest. Canadian model, the bias that it has sometimes can be too strong with cold air, but we really haven't seen much of that, so far this winter here. So I'm going to show the Canadian model for this one here, because that cold air bias really hasn't shown on this model here so far this winter. But you can see here for early next week, this is for next Tuesday. Now the timing is going to change and how the system tracks will probably change as well. But you can see how the pattern does favor a potential winter storm early next week, and that's the end of the run right there. You can see it. Then it shows a clipper system moving across the Midwest, and that could bring a reinforcing shot of some very cold air. And let's look into the reason why we're going to see this pattern change here. So this is the European ensembles, 500 millibar height anomalies, and this is a 5-day mean. So this is from January 19th through the 24th. One of the main things you will notice here is that we got this huge ridge of high pressure that's across the northeastern Pacific, and it even covers the parts of the western U.S., BC, all the way up into Alaska, and even stretches all the way up towards the Arctic Circle here, which can favor a negative PNA pattern or even a negative AO pattern, but also most importantly a negative EPO pattern, which is your Eastern Pacific oscillation. And then we also got another ridge of high pressure out in the Atlantic here, which would prevent this trough here from getting so far to the east here. And this almost covers the East Coast. It's a little bit further east compared to yesterday. We'll have to watch and see if that trend does continue. But there will be a ridge out there out in the Atlantic out there at the same time. And then right between these two ridges is this big trough here. And there's going to be some nasty cold within this here. And you can see how this trough here really comes from, northeast or southeast of Greenland all the way down towards Texas. It's a huge trough. It's got a ton of cold air. And if you're wondering where this cold air is coming from, this cold air is going to be coming from Siberia, Russia. And that's where some of the coldest temperatures are in the world. It's from Siberia. Now, we're not going to get to that type of level cold, of course. But it gets to show you that the cold air that comes in next week will be some serious cold. And it could potentially be colder than what we've been seeing recently. So that's another thing to watch for. And also, this is what we call a cross-polar flow. So you got this massive polar vortex that extends from, like I said, southeast of Greenland all the way down into the lower 48s. And that's a very cold signal out there as well. And if we look into the 2-meter temperature anomalies here at the surface, you can clearly see nearly the entire United States can be below normal for temperatures. And this is for a 5-day mean, January 19th through the 24th. And you can see here, when you get into those dark blues and especially them purple colors, those are well below normal temperatures out there. So, yeah. So, in short, some very cold air is coming. Here's the GFS ensembles. And you can see here it's got a pretty similar look here out there. You can see here we still got that big ridge or that negative EPO across the northeastern Pacific up through Alaska up towards the Arctic Circle. We also still got this massive trough here. It doesn't dig as far south as the European ensembles, but it's still a very cold look. And we also still have this ridge of high pressure out in the Atlantic, which is going to be another player to watch as well. And if we look into 2-meter temperature anomalies, you can see here it's also very cold. It's pretty similar to the European ensembles. So there's a pretty good agreement out there. And there's one thing I forgot to mention. Going back to European ensembles, I want to go back to the 500 millibar height anomalies, the 5-day mean. So the minor change compared to yesterday is the shift of the ridge up here. Before, I believe it was something like this. Today, it's more like this. So where that ridge is shifted to the east a little bit, it also shifts this trough here to the east as well, which can also shift your active storm track a little bit further to the east as well. So in this case here, your storm track could look, something like this. Let me do a little bit better job on that. It could look something like this here for your storm track here, or maybe even a little bit farther south here. Kind of something like that. Could be your active of storm track, which could still favor some snow here in Kentucky here. But what you really want to see here is this ridge out in the Atlantic to flex a little bit more, so that way that eastern ridge here can cover at least parts of the East Coast here. It does cover parts of Florida here, but on this latest run here, it really doesn't cover the East Coast, at least as of yet. We are officially in a central-based La Nina, which means that the southeast and the eastern ridge tends to flex more. So we got to pay attention to that eastern ridge to see how much it flexes, because that could really determine the exact storm track here. It could track across the deep south and maybe even parts along the east coast, or it could track up along the Appalachian Mountains, which if it does track up along the Appalachian Mountains, that's where we can get our big snow potential. But if it tracks a little bit farther to the east than that, there won't be as much snow. But we are still a long way out from this, so you're probably going to see some minor shifts here on the ensembles here. This ridge here could go back a little bit to the west. This trough here could also go back to the west as well, or this ridge here flexes a little bit more. So there's a lot of factors here with this pattern here. Regardless, though, it's going to get cold. It is definitely going to get cold. And let's look into the precipitation anomalies here. And you can clearly see here where the European ensembles really favor that storm track here. And it really likes to track pretty far off to the southeast compared to the previous run here. Up here in Kentucky, it's actually near normal for precipitation, which isn't a bad look for snow at all. And even for areas farther off to the northeast and to our west, you really don't necessarily need above normal precipitation to get a big winter storm. The thing about it is that rain adds more to the precipitation anomaly than snow does. Snow is a lot more finer. You get less. There's not as much water molecules in snow, so rain adds up more than snow. So even if you see slightly below normal precipitation anomalies, like in the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, it doesn't mean you're not going to see snow. It doesn't necessarily mean that. Snow doesn't add up as much as rain does. And you can clearly see here where we may see a lot of rain and maybe even some severe weather as well across the southeast for the European ensembles. If we move on to the GFS ensembles for that same time frame here, it has trended wetter, and I expect that trend to continue. The problem with the GFS ensembles with the precipitation anomalies, it tends to be underdone with the precipitation anomalies because it's been having a very hard time in finding storm systems out there. The European ensembles has really led the way in finding storm systems, and the GFS ensembles usually comes in a couple days late on finding a storm system. So it doesn't surprise me that it's not as aggressive with precipitation anomalies, but it is more aggressive compared to yesterday, and I expect that trend to continue from the GFS ensembles here. You can also see here it's also not as dry up in the Ohio Valley compared to the European ensembles, and the main reason why is how the trough is set up. You can see how the trough is set up here. The storm track is not as deep to the south here, and this can actually be a pretty decent track for winter storms here in Kentucky as well, but we can also get a lot of clippers as well, and even the Sutter jet stream even tries to open up as well, which is another important factor too, is the Sutter jet stream here. And it looks like by the European ensembles here, the Sutter jet stream does open up a little bit down towards Mexico, so that's going to be another thing to watch as well. So not only you get the Sutter jet stream trying to open up, but you also got clippers galore on that northwest flow as well, so that'd be another thing to watch. And the last thing I want to look into is the Climate Prediction Center's outlook here. And this is from yesterday here. They'll probably update this here probably about an hour or so. This is their 6 to 10 day temperature and precipitation outlook. You can see here it favors here in Kentucky the potential for below normal temperatures, but also above normal precipitation. So it favors a colder but also an active pattern. And then you look days 8 for 14, the colder air shifts more to the west, but still favors above normal precipitation out there as well. So it's not necessarily looking to be a cold and dry pattern. It's looking to be a cold and active pattern, which really helps increase the chances for some pretty good snows up here. And I don't think we're done for the winter storm potential just yet. I can really see us getting a winter storm during this pattern here, so it's definitely worth watching here. And here's the hazardous outlook, and I think I've shown this in the last video. They don't update their hazardous outlook in the weekends, but I'll show it again if you guys haven't seen it. So this is the risk for hazardous temperatures. And you can see here a large chunk of the country in a slight risk for well below normal temperatures. And here's precipitation. You can see how it really targets across the deep south with the precipitation, also where we may see some severe weather. There's a slight risk for heavy snow across the entire Ohio Valley, so that also shows the potential for winter storms. And there's even a slight risk for high winds as well, which I'm not sure about the high wind potential, but usually if you get a very tight gradient with the height anomalies and the temperatures, you could get a big storm in there that may create some stronger winds. So that'd be another thing to watch for as well. But anyways, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you really like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. If you guys got any questions, you can put a comment section down below. Find you guys questions. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye and have a good day.